So one of the biggest news stories of this whole week has been the intelligence community whistleblower who reported to the Inspector General of the intelligence community that he overheard something from Donald Trump that was alarming and potentially illegal. Well, House Democrats have actually been investigating this phone call that this intelligence community whistleblower had overheard. They've been investigating that since before they even knew a whistleblower complaint had been made. And so last Friday, Adam Schiff in the House said, hey, we want this whistleblower complaint. That is technically the legal process for it. When these complaints are made, they get sent over here to our committee for us to review them. And not surprisingly at all, the Trump White House said, no, we're going to exert executive privilege over this because we don't want you to know what kind of credible complaint this whistleblower filed against the President of the United States. Honestly, I think people are kind of glossing over that fact. Yes, the whistleblower had a complaint, and yes, the intelligence community deemed it credible, and most importantly, it was an actual complaint against the President of the United States. Not a group of several people in the White House, not a department, not an agency. The President himself is the subject of this whistleblower complaint. So for the last 7 days, obviously, news reports have been swirling about this. We have avoided talking about it here on Ring of Fire thus far because up till basically last night, a lot of the information was just pure speculation. And to be honest, most of it today still is. But the picture is starting to take shape. Things are starting to get a little bit clearer. So here is what is kind of known. And I hate to say that because yes, folks, most of this is still speculation. But here is what is being reported. The phone call that the whistleblower overheard, where Trump made a promise to a foreign leader, was allegedly, according to reports and the time frame of it, Prime Minister of Ukraine. During the same time period, though, it is important to point out that the president also spoke on the phone with Vladimir Putin and an emirate from Qatar. And while I'm sure everybody wants to jump on the Putin bandwagon, which is what everybody thought before the Ukraine thing emerged, if it's not Ukraine, my money is going to be on Qatar. Why? Because so is Trump's money. And I think that would probably be more likely about a promise from the president. But nonetheless, the signs right now are pointing to the Ukraine. And it is likely that the president was talking to Ukraine, telling the leader, you've got to say Joe Biden did something illegal if you want us to give you military aid. I promise to give you lots of aid and help you out in any way possible if you take down Joe Biden. That is the prevailing theory at the moment. And for those who are not familiar with the Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Ukraine story, I'm going to give it to you in a nutshell. When Joe Biden was serving as vice president of the United States, Hunter Biden, Joe's son, became a director, was basically put on the board of a Ukrainian gas company, Ukrainian electric utility, really. Burisma was the company, Ukrainian gas company. So he was put on the board there. And roughly around the same time, Joe Biden, along with Barack Obama and an ambassador to the Ukraine, the director of the International Monetary Fund, members of the UN, and leaders of other countries were pressuring the Ukraine to fire their top prosecutor because the person was corrupt as hell. Now, conservatives and conspiracy theorists believe that Joe Biden was the only one pushing for this prosecutor to be fired, even though it was an international community saying this person's corrupt, get them out of office. And they think that he did this in order to protect Hunter Biden somehow because they think Hunter Biden had done some illegal stuff with Ukraine, some financial fraud or whatever, and they wanted to fire the prosecutor to, stop any investigation. That's what conservatives believe. PolitiFact has run this. That's not how it happened. It happened the way I explained it to you. There was international community outcry to fire this prosecutor. Was it a huge conflict of interest for Hunter Biden to be serving on the board of the Ukraine while Joe Biden also had an influence in Ukrainian policy from the United States? Hell yeah, it was. Did anything illegal happen? Not that anything is suggested, but if Republicans want to launch an investigation, sure, go right ahead. Why not? Let's clear some names if we can clear some names, or if people did something illegal, let's prosecute them. That's how the law works, and I'm 100% in favor of it. But nonetheless, if the President of the United States is in fact threatening to withhold aid or promising to give more aid if the Ukraine comes out and says that Joe Biden did something illegal, then guess what, buddy? You're not going to finish your first term. That's where we're at right now. And that whistleblower is the one who knows what's happening, and that's why the Trump administration is doing their best to keep this information secret. But I can promise you, it's not going to stay secret forever. One of today's video sponsors is NordVPN, and for a limited time, if you go to nordvpn.com/ringofire, you will get 75% off a 3-year plan. That makes it just $2.99 per month. You can browse the internet securely on all your devices and make sure that your data is protected. And also for a short time, if you use the code RINGOFFIRE, you get an extra month of Nord for free. Now, we have discussed in length many different times here on Ring of Fire the importance of protecting your data on the internet. We all know that companies like Facebook and Amazon and Google and all the rest of them, they sell your data for a profit. Using a VPN like that, which is offered by NordVPN, can help keep your data private and secure and prevent corporations from profiting by selling your browsing data. It's especially helpful as well if you're in a public place using a public Wi-Fi. If you're at a coffee shop, a restaurant, or even at an airport, use NordVPN to help protect your data and prevent others nearby on the same network from being able to access all of your files. Now, I can tell you, as somebody who has actually had their identity stolen, what a massive headache and hassle that truly is, trying to get your money back from these groups. And it actually happened from being on a public Wi-Fi. Someone nearby was able to get into my data, they found my passwords, and suddenly all the money in my checking account was gone. Had I been using a product like NordVPN, something to, hide your IP and protect you, that would not have happened. So since then, yes, I have absolutely been using VPNs. I use them on my phone. I use them on my laptop. I use them everywhere I go. And recently I did make the switch to Nord, and I can tell you that it is absolutely the best that I have tried. They have more than 61 different countries hosting thousands of different servers out there to help protect your data. It's also exceptionally helpful if you're traveling abroad, perhaps in a country where they limit the sites that you're able to go to. Using NordVPN.com, you can simply reroute the IP and access information. They have an automatic kill switch. They have 24/7 customer support. They have email. They have live chat. They're absolutely there for you if you have any problems whatsoever. NordVPN is willing to help. And again, this is the best way to help protect your data online, not just from people out there who want to steal it, but also from the corporations who seek to make a profit from it. So again, go to nordvpn.com/ringofire for 75% off a 3-year plan. And of course, enter the code RINGOFFIRE, that's RINGOFFIRE, all one word, and you get an extra month for free.